name is Rachel Ataba, and I am your host today. Our distinguished guest today is Mr. Mbowa, who is gracing us with his presence today to take us through retirement, the topic which many of us seem to avoid, and yet it is very pertinent to our lives. Mr. Apollo is the manager of financial literacy at NSSF, the National Savings Scheme, and I will allow him to give us a brief introduction about himself in a deeper way.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Every time I am asked to introduce myself, I feel I need to introduce myself by the introduction I will always hold right from while I'm working and also when I retire. So I am Apollo Mbowa. I'm a father, a husband. I think that is going to stay.
Yeah.
Of course, currently I'm deployed at NSSF and I'm their financial literacy manager, doing work for NSSF. But I know that will come to an end, and then I will continue as a father and as a husband. So I like introducing myself as that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for hosting me to talk about this retirement, and I think it just comes timely because just from the introduction, I'll once be former NSSF manager for financial literacy.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Mr. Apollo, I know that whereas many of us understand what retirement really means, many other Ugandans and elsewhere do not really understand the term retirement. And many people are confused as to when do you actually retire, at what age, because there's so many different age limits for different, for both private, public. There's a whole series on this retirement thing. So we want you to help us understand, first of all, what is retirement?
Thank you, Rachel. And again, I would say thank you for these fat talks, and thank you, the Fidelis Leadership Institute. I need to start with a disclaimer. Rachel is not retired.
No, I'm not.
Apollo is not retired, but we are the ones speaking about retirement here, and I just want people to get this in perspective. Retirement sometimes is looked at that point when you stop active employment and get into people feel it is the time when you stop working and then get into another phase. I want to broaden that a bit, because even when you stop active employment, most of the people we have in Uganda, they don't stop working. They continue working. So retirement can be defined as an age that when you reach 55, when you reach 60, you stop working. Retirement can also be said to be an amount. When I reach a certain amount of money, I should stop working for money. Let me add that. I stop working for money and then start working for purpose. Because it's a very lonely field, not waking up and having nothing to do. You might have the money, but if you have nothing to do, it's a very lonely field. So retirement can be described as that point when you stop working for money. I am working for money. When Fidelis Institute calls that you need to have this on behalf of NSSF, I'll run because it's the paycheck. NSSF first pays me to do this. And if I have to do it very well, because if I don't do it, I may lose my job, I may lose the money. But the time is going to come when I have a certain amount of money, and I am no longer doing this just for the money. I'm doing this because it is ministry. So I would call that redeployment. I am now redeployed in the same field, but not doing it for the money. So because I've reached an amount. Then retirement also can be looked at in another way as a transition. When do you stop working for money? When do you stop reporting at your employers? When do they legally stop paying you? And then you start a new phase of life. Retirement is not about, I know when we draw pictures of retirement, it's about resting in the beach, but I haven't seen so many people for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years at the beach. It's basically the time when you start working. You are redeployed from this daily work into other work. Now,
Okay.
what that work is for you defines your retirement. You needed to have organized yourself to have that work, but it is not necessarily stopping to work.
Okay.
Yeah, and it can go on and on and on, but it's I want to pick out two things from me. Retirement by Uganda law is an age,
Yes.
60 for public servants, 55 for private citizens. For a person, it could be an amount.
Okay.
Because even when you clock 60 and you don't have a certain amount, you are
Yes,
forced
yes,
to continue
yes,
working. So someone will continue working up to 70, looking for a certain amount.
Yes.
Yes.
So in short, you're saying that retirement is when you reach that, you hit that mark where you either you have enough money put aside for you to be able to stop looking for paychecks and working, and also it's that age where you say, I'm done working. So
Yes, it's a combination of both. The first one is by legal requirement. At a certain age, it may be illegal even for you to hold an employment, but it doesn't mean that you stop working. So that means you need to look for work that is you are allowed to do. You might be a very good engineer. We've met one of the engineers here, and working at one of the stations, but their HR policy says at 60 you stop working. So regardless how good you are, when it clocks 60, they cannot accommodate you any further. But it doesn't mean that you have stopped working. The second bit was the amount.
yes.
When is it that amount can become before your age, before the age of 60? You say, if I, for example, I like working with this magic number. If I have $1 billion on my pension account,
Yes.
I can stop working.
Okay.
So with these good jobs, people amass $1 billion on their pension account before their age 50.
Yeah.
So meaning at that point, a 45-year-old, what are they going to do? Are they going to stop working and stay at home and become a burden? You know, you can become a burden at home, just staying home. But at that point, now they can make a new decision. I am going into retirement, but the retirement I'm going to is sort of a redeployment.
Yes.
I am now going into what I'm calling, instead of what you're calling tire, I'm putting that spelling of tire, the new tires. I'm going to be passionate about.
Yes.
I am going to, I'll be now in service, in real ministry. So you find me, if I have acquired that amount, assuming all things constant, because usually we keep changing our when you get $1 billion, you say, no, let me do $1 billion. But assuming everything constant, and I am maybe a customer officer at a certain at Smart 24 like we are.
Yeah.
It will give me joy to just come in the morning, and I'll be holding that smile. I am no longer driven by the urge for when it's paid day, when it's paid day. Actually, you just find that my salaries are colliding with each other. This May salary is finding the April salary, because I have sorted the money thing.
Yeah.
And right now what I'm doing is
Living
retirement.
life.
Until that portion, then that age will come in and say,
Yeah.
much as you're enjoying this life, but you can't enjoy it from here. So at that point, I would want to move on to what I call transition.
Yes.
Redeploy. Where do you redeploy yourself?
Okay.
I was discussing with the ladies before I came in, and I was telling them we live longer in the non-work environment than in the work environment. People usually get their first meaningful job at age 27, 28, 30. And they get retired at probably 60 or 55.
Yes.
So meaning they have between 25 years to 30 years of actual working.
Yes.
And after that, they hope to live up to 90.
Yeah.
Between 60 and 90, those are another 30 years. So you actually have a whole 30 years.
Whole other new life.
A new life.
Plan for all
So
this.
does that mean that you are going to stop working? No, you are actually going to continue working. You will continue working. So the retirees now like calling it, they don't call it retirement, they are calling it redeployment. So they have moved from this work life to a new work life. Very many people who have clocked the age of 60, they are now in their farms there and there. So they're doing those things, sometimes because they are passionate about them, other times it's because they need the income that comes from them. So you just get redeployed.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is why you find many people leave the government jobs and then start farming and all this.
Exactly.
Okay, so of course today we are here to talk about how and when to plan for retirement. Of course, the people usually say, the young ones usually say, I'm 20, I'm 25, I'll start thinking about retirement when I'm for those who are above 50. That's when you start planning for it. So the question here is, at what age do you think is appropriate for you to start planning for retirement?
The best day to start planning for retirement is the day you get your job, your first job. That's when you start planning for retirement.
Yeah.
But I'm Apollo here. I am 10 years, about 12, 13 years into since I started working.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lie to you that I started doing it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So if I didn't get that chance, the next best time is now. So regardless, so certain people keep saying, no, I will not live long. Why do I need to? It's ironic because you find a mother of 30 is dreaming about their daughter's wedding, which is in 30 years' time.
Yes.
They are planning for it. So they are planning actually to be there.
Yeah.
But when you tell them about retirement, they say, no, I will die. I will not. That man, I will die. I will not be there. But they are sure they will be there for their daughter's wedding. But when it comes to the money bits,
yes, it's too complicated.
They're saying, no, that one, I will die. I don't need that money. So the best time to actually start planning for retirement is, I would say now. If you haven't started already, the best time is now, regardless your age. Regardless your age.
Yeah.
I can't say it's never too late. I want to be honest. There are some of it is already late. And the things we are saying right now, we are just bending. We are trying to mend a bent stick. And if we try to straighten it, it's going to break.
Yeah.
For some of you, it is too late. I can't. There is hope. Yes, I want to say there is hope, but for some of it is already too late. And that's where you will have. That's why we have. At NSSF, we have a statistic where the people who we pay their money, we give them back their money. When you check on them in 2 years' time, 80%, 85% of those people have lost that money.
That's true.
So, and that figure is not about to change. One of the reasons I am at NSSF is for that figure to go down. But that figure, why I'm saying it's not changing today or tomorrow or next year, it's because these people who are losing money after retirement, they do not lose it after retirement. Those people have been losing money all their life. Like from the first payday, they got money, they lost money. It's in their DNA to always get money on a monthly, and before the next money comes, they have lost that money. I'm using the word lose to justify you getting money, and then it doesn't last the lifetime you anticipate.
Yes.
So by the time you keep doing that for 100 months, 140 months, 240 months, which is 20 years, when you get your NSSF money, it will follow the same trend. You will get that money, you will lose it. It may take longer, but you will still lose it. So you need to prepare for that. You need to start building your financial muscles to actually accommodate your retirement, to accommodate your retirement benefits, to accommodate, to get into shape that they can get money and keep money. Because one of the things that changes drastically about retirement is you stop getting money, but you continue living. There is the one popular myth where people think in retirement, your expenses become less. In retirement, your expenses go up.
Yeah.
Picture all the expenses you have right now and try to look out which one is going to go away when you retire. I don't think any of them is going up. You will still eat.
School fees.
Even school fees, you will have, not even grandchildren, you will have that child of the maid who you want the maid to keep you. You will even have your grandchildren because the generations are coming which cannot take care of their own children, and you have to take care of them. So school fees won't go away. Whatever you are having now, it will stay, but then there will be new expenses, medical expenses.
Oh yeah.
You will start losing friends, and you will be at that point where you have to go and bury. You actually, when a friend dies, they have died for you. you are, you have to be there. This person will not be buried until you are there. So those expenses keep coming up. So retirement planning needs to start at that point you are right now. If you have not started, start today. Yep.
You said something very important about many of us, it's too late for us to start planning for retirement because of the way we spend money. We don't keep it. You said something about having it in our DNA to not keep money. And I've seen it with many Ugandans. There are those who have saving habits, and then there are those who saving is just negativity. So knowing that, I don't know what the statistics are, but I'm sure it's almost like 60% of Ugandans who have not planned properly for their retirement. So, and of course, having maybe benefits, NSSF funds and all this, I don't think that's enough to say that I'm ready. I mean, I'm working, and therefore the percentage that goes into NSSF is enough for me to. So the question therefore is, because many of us will benefit from this, how can you properly plan for retirement?
So you brought up a bit of adequacy. So for each of us, we are unique. And actually, we need to start looking at all this from the unique perspective, from your personal perspective. I now mentioned that it is too late for some people, and that sounds really something coming from a bad person. But you can do something. Even in a bad situation, you can pick the best of the bad situation. You may not be where you want to be, but you will survive. So how much is adequate? Starts with you understanding yourself. What are my expenses? What is my lifestyle? Now, most of us live an aspirational lifestyle. We are always in transit of wanting to be a certain lifestyle. We need to get to a point where we say, if I reach this, that is what success means for me. $1 billion may be success for me. 100 million may be success for another one. 10 million may be success for another one. But the best success stories I have from NSSF are people, are askaris.
Okay.
Their NSSF benefits are between 6 to 10 million.
Really?
And for them, they have planned around it, and they will get their 10 million, they will go back to the village, they will buy a motorcycle, they will use the rest to set up a small retail shop on one of the village towns, village small centers, and he becomes the mugaga for the entire place. And he's living life. Because that, for him, that was life. I can be able to go home, I can be able to have transport to bring me to the main town, buy a few things, go back, and then I continue getting. Then in the morning I am able to put some workers to till my garden and just have life. But then there's someone who came from that same village, earning the same amount as the scary, but for him, success has been defined as me not going back to the village. I need to build a house in Muyenga. So they will continue trying to achieve that. Even when they get their last pay, they will end up buying land to try to get that bit. So, which is us working against ourselves. Adequacy is you starting to understand, where do I want to be? And if I have defined that target, defined my lifestyle, like have a picture. Of course, it's free to dream. The reality will change. But if you have a fair picture of where you want to be, then it will give you a fair way of deploying. You have an accurate way of deploying, and you'll start seeing that if I am going to accumulate for the next 30 years, I'm going to accumulate only 50 million. Then my lifestyle needs to stay around that. I need to be comfortable with Chirudu Hospital. I need to be comfortable with, I should not be aspiring to say, I have a cope, I'm going to Nairobi. Why? Because I also worked at Smart 24. I was, and my peers are going to Nairobi. So start with the objective. What's your objective? What is your standard? What are you looking at being in your retirement? And then work backwards. It is that is going to feed into what is adequate for you. So if your life is, you set your life at, I need 200 million, and you know your work life is not going to produce 200 million, then that should trigger your mind. What do I need to do get to that 200 million?
Yes.
And when I get to that 200 million, when do I call it enough? What vehicles am I going to use? Am I going to use, am I going to use rentals? Am I going to use business? Am I going to use skilling myself? What am I going to do? Just because the other one has rentals, why do I need to have rentals? So you get your 200 million from NSSF and you're putting up an apartment block and you're unable to finish it. You will become poorer than when you are. So it starts from the point of your objective, define it, and then work backwards. What is adequate? Basically, there are things that won't change. The price of sugar for a rich man is the same price of sugar for a woman of not means. There are those basics, but we need to work around. There are some which are imported, a privilege. Once you enjoy it, it becomes a necessity. For example, I drove here. It's not necessary for me to drive, but because I've enjoyed this privilege, I am upgrading it to a necessity. But guess what? I can actually live without driving. I can walk and I don't die. I walked for a long time. But do you want to get, so you have to have those talks, and then widen that talk. You bring in your family, bring in your children, because guess what? These children are a big part of your retirement.
Yes.
They are, while they are pursuing their new dreams, they have their new young wives, their everything. They don't want to stop their lives and then start thinking about that.
Looking after you,
So you need to bring them on board. Or even if you are not going to discuss, you are a solid Muganda man, you're going to say, me, I don't discuss money with children.
Yes.
When you're doing your planning, have them in mind. Where are they going to live? Where I am amassing all this land. For who? Because this retirement is for you. What do I need to do? Do I need to prepare for my children or to prepare them?
Yes.
It's best, my personal advice, it's best you prepare them and then let them fly. Instead of amassing this, amassing that, amassing, this is for this child, this is for this child, this is for, and they have no interest in it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is a whole process, and that's why you need to give it your entire lifetime. Because guess what? Why are you working? Because bottom line is to have a good life. And so why don't you put in as much effort to actually plan for that life? So visualize the life and create an objective around it, and then every day you are working towards that. And then they have the humility to say that once I have this, that's good enough for me. And accept. If things turn out better, well and good. If they don't, and you fall at that same mark, still okay. If you fall below, you will still adjust a little. But there's a point when you have to reach and you say, this aspiration, now let me hand it over to the next generation.
Okay, it's very interesting also that we have we have this ideology that the people who are employed are at a risk because us who have businesses, we are okay. So we don't even have to plan for retirement because our businesses will just sim through. So first of all, before you even get to that, what are the saving schemes that are available to Ugandans? And how can everyone take part? And how do you advise these people who think that they've arrived? That you're employed, may have a business, therefore this business is going to just succeed forever until I die. How do you advise such people, and also how do you advise them to take advantage of these schemes that are available?
I think one of the reasons why the people in business feel they have arrived, and indeed I can say they have arrived, everyone has arrived somewhere, is because the people in employment, when they stop working, they go to start up a business. Now, why these people in business have an edge over you is because they have been in this business. Now, retirement is not an age for starting. You don't start things in retirement. You expand.
Yes.
If you have never started a business in your work life, don't choose retirement to start it.
Okay.
Because this person The business person, they will not tell you that they're also struggling.
Yes.
They're struggling, but they have had 30 years of doing this business.
Yes.
Now, for you think you're going to come in and thrive, of you not those 30 years of not doing, you want to come in and do.
Yeah.
But it's also a huge myth when people think that because I'm in business or I'm in self-employment, I will not retire. There are two things. Your body will give way. Most of the lawyers, actually, they give a good example. They may not be business, but they could be self-employed lawyers. You're a partner.
Yeah.
There is no age limit for practice as a lawyer. But at a certain time, your body will give way. You can't run this business as fast. You can't run to court. You can't. There are young lawyers in there, and they're using language. They are sharing documents and evidence on tabs where you have a huge file. You may not keep up. So there's your body will not keep up. So you actually need to plan for your retirement.
Yes.
But also there is the whole bit that this business, you're so good at your business that it doesn't need you. You have established it.
Yeah.
You've put systems in place. New blood has come in. And actually, you being there is a deterrent.
Yes.
The business is better off you being out of it. It needs to cope with a new generation.
Yeah.
So you being efficient and good at your business will also throw you out of your business. So you need to prepare for retirement. And retirement is beyond just the money.
Yeah.
Retirement is a bit of how am I spending my time when I am not at that business, at that job. Who am I spending it with? Or what am I doing during that time? Is it with my wife? Is it with my colleagues? Where? Am I doing it in the village? Am I doing it in town? It's beyond just the money.
Yeah.
So you may get it right on the money, and then you find yourself redundant. No one can invite you. Like today, I am here being invited. I feel so big. I feel so. I feel like I feel yeah. But I might retire, and no one is picking. None of these people picks my calls. Like I am not that I'm useless, but I am no longer the person.
You're no longer relevant.
They need the person who took up my role. That's why I had to keep introducing myself as a husband and a father, because I know I won't retire from those.
Yeah.
But I was not invited because I'm a husband or a father. They invited me because I am working with NSSF. But it will stop. Will they invite me? They won't. Like they can smile at me and no one will invite me. Like I can even wear it's a free service. Can I even pay to come? They will not. So it's about doing that. So what are the vehicles available? NSSF is one of those vehicles. And right now with the amendment in the law, it has been opened up. Yes. Whether you're in self-employment, whether you are in Dubai, you can actually save.
Okay.
So
that's nice.
Then there are insurance companies, there are unit trusts, there are private pension funds, but there are also other non-traditional or non-formal methods. Things like land. People are investing in land for their retirement. Yeah. One of the things I want to really discourage, and I hope if nothing comes out of this meeting, let people hear this. Investing in children for retirement, that one was scrapped off. Like, please do not even think that's an investment. When you invest in your children's education, good. It's an investment, but not for you, for them. For them. Yes. But you have, when you buy property, you are buying this property. It will serve you in retirement. Real estate is very, 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 very popular for your retirement. Investment clubs are now coming up. All those are non-traditional. People are buying cows. Yeah. They are stocking the farms with cows because they want to be in such a way that when I get out of paid employment, I can sell a cow every month. Yeah. So look at what you have, look at where you are, and look at your level, and then cascade it, because you will need that income when you clock a certain age. Income to keep coming from you without you going to your son and calling them that I need sugar. Imagine you are 70 and asking a 20-year-old. Shame on you. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So we are going to go in a small game that we usually play here on this chat. It's called One Truth and Two Lies. And Mr. Apollo, you're going to give us one truth and
two lies, and then our audience will sift through and give us which one is the truth and which are the lies.
Okay. One truth or two lies.
Yes.
So I just say three statements.
Yes, and then
we'll leave
the
the
audience will choose
to decipher
decide, yeah.
which is true, which is. I have traveled 7 countries.
Okay. I've traveled 7 countries.
I play brass and music instruments.
Okay.
I run 7 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are 3.
So you said the second was you play.
I play brass music instruments.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a musician. Let me say I'm a musician.
Yeah, musician. Yes.
I'm a musician. I've traveled 7 countries.
Okay.
More than 7 countries.
Yes.
I run 7 kilometers
per day.
When I choose to run.
Whenever you choose to run,
Yeah.
you run 7 kilometers.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope the audience has heard that.
Yep.
It says he has traveled 7 countries. The next
More
is
than 7
more than 7 countries, yes. And the next is he's a musician and has played brass instruments. And the third is he runs 7 kilometers every time he decides to run. So we shall let you discern which one is the truth and which ones are the 2 lies.
Yep.
So we shall go on. You are telling us about NSSF and how you people can save from wherever they are. And I wanted to ask also, is this money taxed? Because I remember there was a discussion that was going on that already this is taxed money. That is, I don't know if that was resolved, and people want to know, is this money taxed?
Now, one of the retirement is such a sacred time.
Yes.
That everything you're doing towards retirement in the financial markets is actually exempted from.
Okay.
It's not exempted, but because you have already paid a tax,
yes,
there is no further tax.
It will be a double tax.
It will be a double tax.
Okay.
So the money at NSSF will not be taxed when you receive it. It's fully yours, because while the NSSF was investing, it was taxed. When you are giving it to us, you were taxed somewhere. So when you finally receive it, it is not. The proposals around the tax were to do a different analogy, but they were not adopted. Yeah. But allow me, Rachel, before I forget, I just need to decipher on a few myths.
Yeah.
Not myths. Let me just make some random statements. They don't really follow anywhere. But retirement can be very, very quiet. When you have had a very busy job, a very busy business, and the day you choose to retire, all of a sudden you lose that busyness. That your phone could be calling off the hook while you were serving as an officer at NSSF like me. People call me, big people call me, but the day they know that I retire, no one calls me. So it can be very, very quiet. And that can be disorienting. But the biggest disservice you can do to yourself is retiring poor, because no one is going to understand how you went through life working and then ended up poor. You will lose your place in society because you are poor. Now you were a big man at NSSF. Now you are out of NSSF. All you have is the English and the bit of I used to work with NSSF. I am the former this, and you're showing them buildings, but they can't see the tangibles. Exactly what are you, of which use are you to us? So it's a big disservice. You lose your position in society. You will cease being a person because you've retired poor. I'm saying this and it sounds mean, but you all know how we treat our parents or how we treat our uncles that are retired and they are poor.
Yeah.
Like in village meetings, you don't really wait for them. In clan meetings, you don't wait for them. What are they going to say? You are a person who was retired, you have no purpose, you have no money. Why are we waiting for you? You do not make decisions. You have lost your position in society. So it's a disservice for you to have call the shots and then eventually you can't even make a contribution even in a clan meeting. When you retire as poor, you have surrendered all your life. You have given up some decisions about your life. Whatever hospital the children or the bystanders, the well-wishers which want to take you, you go. You do not call the shots. No, I don't want to. Even you might even not call the shots on your blood group.
Yeah.
They will give you what is available because you are poor. You will not. You will have. You will surrender your opinions.
Yeah.
Who wants to listen to your opinion? You are poor. So for me, if there is anything you need to get to fear, is retiring into poverty. It's not noble. Like, yes, you would want to go there. Maybe they'll say you can come serve, but even the church will not want to be served by a poor person. So, in whatever you do, please and please prepare to retire noble, in a noble state, and that takes a big bit of your financial needs. Yes.
You don't want to reach that stage where you, like you said, you're in a clan meeting, you say something and they tell you to keep quiet.
They won't tell you, they just won't listen to you. They will leave you to talk, and then after you have talked, because out of courtesy, you are old, they will leave you to talk. And after you have finished talking, the chairman will just move on and then look at the other one who came with the brother and say, Wamba, what do you say? And he might say the same things you've said. And then he will say, just like he has said, let's adopt that. So like, because you are poor, you cease being a person. Let me tell you. And this, I've gotten a lot of bashing from people, especially some people who thought I was saying hate the poor. I'm not saying hate the poor. I'm saying hate the poverty. Because there is nothing noble about being poor, and especially if you are old. Allow me to say this. You can grow old, but fail to grow up.
True.
If you have retired in poverty, you have not grown up. Like yes, you have the years, but you don't have the brains.
Yeah.
Like no one understands how 55-year-old, 60-year-old, a 75-year-old is unable to afford salt for themselves. How they are looking for someone in Kampala to bring them Panado. They just don't understand. So it is mandatory to grow old, and you're going to grow old. By the way, people will think they're going to die. They're not dying. They're not dying. You are going to live old, and poverty, like in poverty, you can live very long. Just imagine one day in a poor man's life is like 10 days.
I know.
Between meals, between the meal you took in the night and the next meal, it feels like it's a whole year. So you are going to live long.
Yeah.
Just know that.
So I remember there was once a discussion, I think during COVID, when people were saying that they should NSSF savings. So, of course, part of the discussions were that people have problems all the time. You can't wait for death, and then the people who take after you, your children, enjoy your money that you have worked so hard for. So how can you what's your advice for people not using their retirement funds for life's problems? For example, if it's not even NSSF, but someone has put away some savings in the bank for retirement, but then something happens and then they're like, you know what, let me just pick up 50% of it, maybe all of it. After all, we're not going to live long. What's your advice for such people?
Again, we start with debunking the myth. You will live long.
Yeah.
You have no choice. You will live long. At NSSF, less than about 0.9% of the people we pay, and we are paying, they are beneficiaries. They have been able to live. 99% leave to take their money.
Okay.
So first, bump yourself out of the being the hopelessness that you are going to die. you will not die. But even if you die, you have obligations.
Yeah.
There are people you brought into the world without their consent. You didn't ask your children, well, should I come to the world?
Yeah.
So now you have died. Who have you left them for?
Yeah.
Is it necessarily a bad thing that they are going to partake of your money? Because you are the one who chooses those beneficiaries and you update these forms. So it's not even a bad thing that you have died and they get to be the beneficiaries. So, but the bit is people live long. And as we have seen, they even live longer in retirement. People are now dying at 70, at 80. That's 20 years, 15 years after retirement. So you will live, and you might even outlive that money.
Yes.
How do you protect your money from becoming today's solution for becoming the solution for today's problem?
Yes.
Start from the objective. Remember when we talked about the objective?
Yes.
Have the picture that I need this money 20 years from now.
Yes.
And if I need this money, one of the things NSSF does by law is they make it difficult for you to get that money if you are not a certain age.
Yes.
So meaning you will become your neighbors will become sick and you can't pick NSSF money to help them. Your children will not have school fees and you can't pick NSSF money because the objective was sanctioned that it will be at your 55. So school fees now is not a necessary money problem.
Yes.
And but even the schemes you're only saving, when you say I am saving 2 million for Christmas, and then your neighbors is sick, you don't have money. When they come to ask you for money, you don't have money. Why? Because truly your money you have is for Christmas. But if you have put it there without an objective, then you will be like your neighbor to tell them I have no money. It is there, and it will be available for that problem. And usually the problems come for the money we have. Like somehow they just come for the money we have. But when you sanction it and say this is for Christmas, this is for 2 years, this is for 10 years, it will not be available for that problem. It requires discipline. It's not easy in reality. We are a very kind and generous generation. So it really requires a certain bit of discipline. But I'm also not pushing for an agenda of people being mean with themselves. Maybe I need to say this before we finish that. We need to get into the habit. It's actually financial indiscipline when you do not know how to eat your money. You need to partake of your money. You will save. Then what? There has to be an end to the savings. So in your savings objectives, in your investment objectives, you need to have one of those objectives. I just need to have money to eat, to count and eat. Because if you don't do that, then you don't get energized to do that. And even your children will start looking at you. They will hate the savings. They will say, "Daddy was saving. We would never go to KFC because Daddy was saving." They will hate it. And the minute you die, the day you die,
they just eat your money.
Like all your investments, they will go against you and they will start eating that money. We'll buy them at pennies just because they are getting back at you. So you need to get into the financial discipline
that
of
is
eating your
very
money.
important advice. So
I'm not just eating it, because today someone may just take away, eat your money, and that is all they have had. No, money to be eaten needs to have gone through getting it. You need to have gotten it first. So don't eat what you don't have it. You need to keep it, but don't just keep it. You need to grow it. When you grow money, then you are ready to eat it, because you will eat from the eggs. So you need to get it, keep it, grow it, sustain it, then eat it. That's a wealthy cycle.
Our listeners, thank you for being with us. Again, I remind you, if you have any questions, you can please send them through. We shall have a time for that as well. I see the poll is going well. So as we wait for the questions, we shall continue the discussion while we wait for the poll as well. So one of those questions, again, since we've now spoken so much about planning, so now you've reached retirement, you have this 1 billion, like you spoke of someone who has 1 billion. How do you manage these funds so that you don't again, because just like you said, someone will go and buy, you know, a Beamer or a Mercedes Benz, and all this money, as much as it looks, will all disappear in one go. So what advice do you have for people on how to manage their funds, to also manage the cost of living, and so that it's able to take them through these 30 or 20 years that they're going to live after work, after employment, and facing the bag?
I want to come out and say this, that money is not a respect of persons. It's not a respect of positions. It's not a respect of degrees. It's not a respect of, so for money, it's always day one.
Yeah.
You can have amassed this money, but it doesn't make you a master of it.
Yeah.
If you do not continue, if you don't continue obeying the principles of wealth creation, you can as well lose that money. So every time you need every time you are in that space of amassing money, you need to get to the space of managing the money.
Yes.
You need to get to the space of growing the money. You need, and it's a continuous, there is no point, even when you're in retirement, you still need to manage, grow your money. You need to keep your money. You need to sustain your money. So it is an ongoing process. It just keeps feeding within itself. The minute that you stop at one, then you start losing.
Yeah.
You start losing. Something gives way. That's why we have the best politicians. I don't want to say, but we have the best paid, the most highly paid people. And when at a certain time, when you look into their lives, they have nothing. They are being driven in Penconi, and they are now, they can barely afford a primo. They don't go down at borders, but some of them actually don't have anything to drive. When you walk into someone's compound and you find 2 or 3 cars there, put on stones, no tires, that's what we call graves for money. Like that is the tombstone. You can see that these people once had money, but now they don't. So when you become, you can never lose your age.
Yeah.
And say, now I have, let this go. No, even when you're at the point of where the money is actually generating money and you're eating off this, you still need to keep alert. So you need to be alert, you need to be present.
Yeah.
And there are vehicles, seek assistance.
Yeah.
Everyone who has money becomes very smart. Like, I don't know if you have gotten people come to you. People will come to you when they don't have money and they will ask you for ideas.
Yes.
But when they get money, I don't know if they usually come back. Like you have 2 million, all of a sudden you are an expert. You are an expert in money.
Yeah.
But when you are sick, you go to the doctor. When you need counseling, you go to a pastor. When you have a legal problem, you go to a lawyer.
Yeah.
When you have money, who do you go to? Who gave you that expertise that you got yourself? You are the financial advisor. Seek. Banks are giving financial advice. NSSF is giving financial advice. Free of charge. They are not the experts, but they will point you at different places, and then you start making your decisions.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you are the owner, and you need to make these decisions yourself. But who are you seeking advice from? So you need to keep in that particular bit.
Fantastic. Just a reminder, please don't hesitate to send in those questions as we approach the question time. In the meantime, let me see that. Well, 50% say you're a musician as the truth. And then the other 2 are lies. Wow, like a musician. Okay, shall continue. So yeah. So I think you mentioned how people should prepare emotionally. I heard you speak about how retirement is silent, and all these. So what are the goals that someone should have for retirement?
The goals are set in your objective phase. And that objective phase is, for anyone watching now or listening in, should be now. If you haven't done it, should be now. So you could be now and you're 23, but So you are setting it right now. But in there is flexibility, because as life changes,
Yes.
as you might set that objective when you don't have a partner. Now your partner comes in, you keep updating.
Yeah.
So it's in that objective phase, that it's in that objective bag that you have to look out for which goals. What's my what amount am I retiring at? What age am I retiring at? What village? No, what home? With who? All those become now, let's take it as a fit and proper test. Where shall our children find us? Who will I live with? Am I living with my children? There is those that say, my children will not marry until I die, so I'll live with them. So you do a fit and proper test of of the retirement, and that will help you. I just jotted a few things here. I remembered. Are you aware? In there, you need to understand that you will need to exit. Like, are you aware of the retirement age? You could be working and you're thinking, for me, I'll drive. I'm a driver. I'll drive until I drop dead. I will die on the job. But what does the HR say? Are you aware of that bit? So what age? Are you aligned to whom you're going to retire with? I'm retiring with my wife. I'm retiring with my husband. But my husband, his plans are, I remember meeting a couple. The husband is an engineer, and his plan was to retire in the village and go teach children. The wife can never hear of me being he's an engineer now, but in retirement he's a teacher in a primary school. No. So as the person aligned, are you certain of who you are going to be with? Are you comfortable of that person, or it's going to be you are going to have no choice?
Yes.
Which medical facilities would you opt for? How do you want to? What activities are you undertaking? With which organizations? When you are 60, you become very unfavorable to organizations. You may offer your services and no one wants to take them.
Yeah.
Like, I want to teach a primary school for free.
Yeah.
And the teachers will say, we don't want this person.
Yeah.
So all those things now become your goals.
Yeah.
So you pick them and say, ask yourselves those questions, and then set goals around that. But for me, two most important goals is the amount, the age, and then the who are you retiring with.
Yes.
Then where, for me, as long as I answer the who I'm retiring with, where becomes the second one. Now I can hand over the other questions to that person and say, I'm retiring with you. So answer any other questions related to that.
Yeah. Interesting. So we had spoken about the likes of the businessmen and people who don't really have a paycheck at the end of the month. They ask themselves questions like, do we really need social security? What's your advice to that?
They do. They do. And it comes in very many forms. It's not just the NSSF. It is the place you are going to. That's the questions I've just asked.
Yes.
They need to ask themselves whether they're in business or not business. Because you have to exit that business one way or the other. And some people are building their businesses to die with them. That's why you are seeing people dying and then their businesses following them. But people who are in the business right now and they are thinking forward and they say, this business is going to outlive me.
Yeah.
The things they are doing actually the things that are going to make them exit this business early.
Yeah.
Because they will put up systems and they are no longer needed. They are the ones sitting at the table and they're clocking in the customers. Now there is a smart machine. So all of this is coming in the morning and all he has to do is read newspapers. And then the sons give him a smartphone and say, you can actually read news at home. So you become less and less needed at that business. So you need to actually plan for your retirement. The only age you have is you either want to set your terms.
Yes.
But if you don't start early setting your terms, actually the world will set those terms.
That's very true. Okay, that's interesting. Let's go back a bit to the pause and see where it has reached. Okay, so people seem to think that you are a musician. So I don't know if that is the truth.
So no one really thinks I can run 7 kilometers. Where is that? I'm offended. No, I don't want to use the word musician because I haven't released any rap song or anything. But
Yeah,
I do
yet to
play.
release.
I do play brass and woodwind instruments.
Okay.
So I do.
So
I'm a
that's
player. I
actually
play saxophones. I
so
play.
people know you. They have some kind of discernment.
I haven't played in a long time. Or when I play at home.
Maybe they're saying something about your retirement.
It's one of those things I'm going back to. I have to have a brass band somewhere. I have to fully equipped an orchestra, and one of those things I really look at myself doing, and
That's
I used to
nice.
enjoy. Yeah. Of course, I haven't traveled 7 countries. Yeah, people couldn't you just think that I
You
traveled?
haven't. I actually thought that's true.
No one is believing. Okay. I might have to work on myself. Yes.
Okay, so again, we remind you guys to ask in any questions regarding retirement. We have the benefit of having a financial literacy guru here, so any of your questions, he can answer that. Yeah, so what else do you want to share with us? It is relevant.
Allow me
topic.
to share 3 stages in preparing for retirement.
Yes.
And those stages stretch through work.
Yeah.
So there is a stage before work. You have no obligations. You have no one expects you to do so much. All they expect you is go to school, bring results. Go to school, do results. But then there is the point of when you get into work. For the first 2 years, people may be kind on you. You are just beginning. Maybe you're even coming from your parents' place. They will be kind on you. Yeah. But the next years do not continue in the same beat. You need to start growing up. Yeah. I call that the accumulation phase. Now, if I was half as smart as I am right now, I probably wouldn't be here. Like I would be. The things I would have done then would have landed me at a certain level that for you to get to talk to me, you need to go through phases. But now I'm here, researching. But accumulation phase means that you start putting aside money. Yeah. Like I wish I had started putting aside something. Then you start putting aside, you start investing, you start doing, you start putting, and I'm not talking about you going into a side hustle because you have just started working. You have no business going into a side hustle, into a business when you have just gotten a job. Yeah. But you need to start doing things that puts aside money for your retirement. You need to look at your 30-year picture. And if you look at this 30-year picture, you are saying in 30 years I will retire. So this is called the accumulation phase. Okay. At the point, at the age, at that amount of retirement, when you reach that amount of retirement, that age, that point, you have two choices. You can either go up, your curve can continue going up, it can stay there, or it can go down. It's called decumulation. Now, at that point, we are saying, ideally, you need to, income stops coming in from the known sources. Yes. And they need to start coming in. Either you need to eat from your pot that now gives you new income streams. So I need you to start looking. If there's anything I need you to think about, I need you to start thinking about what are those things I need to start doing. Because the time is going to come and it's going to be a long time. Yeah. And like people wives leave husbands in retirement. Yeah. Married 50 years and all of a sudden because over the period of time. So everyone needs to start critically looking at this and then customize it. What works for Apollo doesn't work for Rachel. We may be getting the same income, we may be working for the same person, we may even be coming from the same family, but it really may not work. And then real estate. real estate looks as one of those things people run to for retirement. Like if you have a rental retired.
Yeah.
Allow me to share a story of one of my, and this I could learn your money. So what that was, but also no profits. About 300 million, about 200, around those figures, at in the provident, in the private provident scheme at work. So she had about 500, and everyone at that point she's buying a property. Actually, all her friends, 7 of them, they went into property.
Yeah.
The others went into business. For her, she went to the property she had acquired. She had acquired 2 properties in Bogolobi flats over Bukoto flats over her lifetime, working with a bank or under mortgage. She went ahead and liquidated.
Okay.
Like you are 60 and you are selling off property. Everyone is running to buy.
To buy, you're selling.
For her, she said, I do not believe that at 60 years. And again, I want to give a huge disclaimer. This is her. It is what's working for her.
Yeah.
You know what works for you.
Yeah.
She liquidated those 2 flats.
Wow.
Added to this 500 million. Liquidated another rental in Luzira, added. And she got about 800 million.
Wow.
She put this money. Then I was working with an investment manager. And we have what we call a unit trust. In that unit trust. Unit trust is you invest collectively with other people. And we're able to give you then, even now the unit trust manager is able to give you monthly. And with that, with the prevailing rates around that time, we're able to pay her 9 million of 100 every month without touching the 800. Now, the person who retired getting 5 million gross was now getting 9 million.
Wow.
And when she calculated backwards, she told me, yes, I've had these 2 properties, and this other property, and this other money, maybe I've gotten 9 million every month from. Yes, maybe, but the risks of someone not. Now you are picking into So sometimes one is where you're coming from. So the interest is that however you have to be.
Okay.
So if someone dies and generally but for that person it was working. So liquidity.
Okay.
Right now we have products on the market. ICA with the insurance, which will provide you a lifetime payment.
Okay.
An annuity. You get your money, give it to them, and they will guarantee that they will pay you for as long as you live. And if you die prematurely, die before a certain period, they will pay your beneficiaries for another next number of years. Okay. That's available. There are products like drawdowns. You invest, they keep paying you off the interest. They give you part of the principal, part of the interest, and after a certain year, they give you back your principal. So all those are available. But again, I'll pray what works for you. Some things are secure. If I have all this money, understands. So that fills me with pride. It is beyond the money. I say every time I'm driving around it, it may not have tenants, or the tenants may be defaulting. I have that. So it has to be a combination of how many things can you do, but do them within your means.
Fantastic. Okay, so we have a question from Kamoga Luke. He says, thank you for this wonderful and elaborate discussion. It's an eye-opener. And he says, his is a question, can a person who learn and change citizenship still have access to their NSSF savings?
The minute you leave Uganda and you become a citizen of another country, you cease to be a citizen, you cease to be an obligation to the Ugandan government.
Okay.
And whether you are 20, 30, 40 years, you are eligible to come and pick your NSSF benefits.
Okay.
If you have citizenship in another country,
okay,
you can pick your NSSF benefits.
immediately.
Even if you are 23,
Wow.
you can
Okay.
no longer Uganda's business. You're a business of another. But we put the option open for you if you want to continue participating in the national service scheme.
Yes.
You definitely can continue. And we have put payment methods using the visa.
Does this okay.
We are open.
Okay.
We are open to
That's
it.
just
You can
okay.
even if claim money, but we can come in and keep funding because this most citizens,
Okay.
but they need to come back to retire.
Yes. Okay. We have another question from and procedures one have to follow to benefit from the NSSF savings. They need to have obtained letters of administration or probate in the estate.
Yes. That's the way we identify that you are the right manager. It's a process because with a hospital, then you go to NIRA to get the death certificate. You proceed with the death certificate of administration. Then you come with to us.
Yes.
When you come to us, that is the genuine. And we do also our due diligence to actually make sure that person will separate, but we have that investigation. That they are no longer a child.
Natural.
As we are getting in the question, allow me to just share one number
Okay.
Because someone will ask, when can I